Look how media's propagandists covered the Trump-Russia hoax versus the Bombshell Biden laptop scandal. I mean, two, and I was right on both counts of these stories. Come to find out, but it really wasn't hard to do the research into this because they pretty much they pretty much lead you to they pretty much give you the breadcrumbs for you to figure this stuff out on your own. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out, and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I put out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree that's in the description. It has a link to my Patreon where I talk about things I can't talk about here, and also have a link to my merch store where we got Let's Go Brandon t-shirts, I Will Not Comply t-shirts, all types of t-shirts, and every shirt that you purchase, it goes to fund what we're doing around here. All right, let's talk about this news. After the New York Times quietly admitted this week that Hunter Biden's laptop is legitimate, something the corrupt media baselessly called disinformation in the run-up to the 2020 election to conceal Biden family corruption, it's worth contrasting how so-called journalists covered that story versus the Russian collusion hoax to take down Donald Trump. When it came to the legitimate Hunter Biden laptop story, just 1 month before the November 2020 election, big tech, the fake news media, and Democrats blew it off and nuked mentions of Biden family corruption from the internet. False and audacious claims about the discredited Steele dossier and Trump's alleged sexual activities in Moscow, however, were given years of coverage that assumed he was guilty before ever seeing proof. There wasn't any hard evidence that this happened. Any mentions of golden showers by Christopher Steele, a guy hired by a firm hired by Trump's 2016 rival Hillary Clinton, came through secondhand accounts, but the corporate media treated it as fact, not disinformation, even though, I reported it as such. Yet, when it came to Hunter Biden's laptop, former intelligence heads wrote an open letter claiming without evidence that Russians orchestrated the story, and the media ran with the Russian disinformation narrative. The contrast in the media's treatment is glaring. See for yourself. Here was the Vanity Fair headline in 2018, quote, Trump PP tape, Alibaba is falling apart. Alibi is falling apart. China's on my mind. But in 2020, Vanity Fair claimed that the credible reporting of Hunter Biden's laptop discovered reeks of Russian influence and that the story wasn't a smoking gun. CNN similarly ran dozens of stories highlighting the bogus Steele dossier as a bombshell, but was quick to call that Biden family bombshell dubious. You see how they do? The anatomy of the New York Post dubious Hunter Biden story, one CNN headline stated. Just despicable. The Washington Post acknowledged that the P-tape story might not be real, but still ran stories claiming that, quote, real or fake news, either way, allegations of lewd tape pose challenge for Trump. Washington Post's coverage of Hunter's, however, was framed to cast doubt on the fact that his laptop, despite good reports, validating it. NPR made a big show out of covering the, quote, bizarre twists and turns of Trump's non-existent collusion with Russia, but flat out refused to cover anything related to Hunter's corruption, saying it doesn't amount to much. See how they do? Look how Slate covered Trump and Russia. Well, a new report adds evidence that Trump was a Russian asset, one headline read. And James Comey says the P-tape is maybe real. He really can't say the P-tape is real. Flashed another article which just linked to an interview with Comey. When it came to the Hunter Biden story, however, Slate published an article criticizing the Delaware repair shop that possessed the abandoned laptop for not being ethical. And here's the Daily Beast fare. Quote, Christopher Steele, yes, Trump P-tape probably exists. The outlet was still saying it in 2021. It makes, and this is what they do. The same outlet coverage of Hunter's overseas dealings, however, chalked the emails up to Russian disinformation. That's what they call everything now. Everything that goes against the mainstream narrative, they consider it Russian disinformation. Or Politico, the outlet that published the Russian disinformation, open letter from people who hadn't seen the laptop, also stretched its coverage of the dossier and the P tape, despite reports discrediting both. Vice is terrible. They used to be pretty decent, but they're just horrible now. But Vice ran multiple explainers about the Russia collusion racket to break down everything you need to know about the P-tape dossier and its funders, but deemed the Biden family corruption story conspiracy candy. You see, if it's against their narrative, it's a conspiracy theory or Russian disinformation. Quote, we are collectively losing touch with reality and is extremely obvious, Vice claimed in response to the laptop. No, yeah. The real collusion here, though, it wasn't until this week that the New York Times stealthily admitted in the 24th paragraph, way down, of an unexciting article about Hunter that the laptop story was true. This is how they do. The confession came after 5 years of collusion lies and speculations about whether there was actually a tape documenting Democrats' wannabe scandal. Both corporate media and big tech abandoned their function in information collection and dissemination to instead meddle in the 2016-2020 elections, most recently suppressing a story that had potential to change American votes. You know, and I think they polled people, and I think it was up to like 9% of Democrats polled said they wouldn't have voted for Trump. I mean, wouldn't have voted for Biden if they knew this story. But the fake news media whined about Trump working with Russia for years, despite not a shred of evidence to support their outrageous theory. It was only when the dishonest press teamed up with social media oligarchs to nuke the Hunter Biden story that the real collusion happened. And therein lies the real collusion. The media are the real colluders. But let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out democrepublics.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.